This week on The Way with Hank Haney.
Well, I describe my golf game as inconsistent.
He starts off well, and he gets a little fatigued through the round.
Well, I'll get to the tee box and hit a slice drive. So now I'm playing in trouble. And now for the rest of that hole, it's really course management, playing out of the trouble, getting myself back into position to possibly make a shot where I can actually score on the hole.
There are some times where, Mike doesn't really want to talk about it. He can be like the silent type, especially if he has a bad round. Mike really doesn't take what I tell him to heart anyway. So I'm hoping that you can break through his psyche and get to his golf game and really help him out.
I have trained over 200 touring professionals. I have been named one of the top teachers in the world by Golf Digest magazine, worked as an ESPN golf analyst, and authored 4 top-selling golf books. But I'm best known for instructing a golfer turned modern-day legend. This is The Way with Hank Haney.
In 2001, after 9/11, the Cybecker family moved to Orlando from New York to pursue a slower-paced lifestyle, which included more golf for Mike.
I would categorize myself as a person who loves the game, who struggles with his inconsistency, but from time to time can put together 3 or 4 or sometimes 5 really good holes. But there are always times during the round where it does blow up.
He'll usually slice a lot. He'll actually always end up, in the rough. Sometimes he has a hard time getting out of the rough.
When Michael leaves for his golf game, he's usually very excited. He loves to go out. It just is depressing to him when he doesn't do well on the golf course.
When he doesn't really, do that well, he gets down on himself and he'll just go in his room and just,
I've known Mike for a little over 3 years now, and the two of us on the golf course were very competitive individuals.
I'm a 23 handicap currently. Not proud of that. I started playing golf actually in high school, I would say. I had a very good friend of mine in high school that was on the golf team. We would go out and play. He was obviously a lot better than I was, but it was a great person to play with, to learn from. And I'm actually not proud to say that I actually haven't gotten that much better. I think what separates really good golfers from everyday golfers is the idea that they know what they did wrong and how to fix it on the next shot. I can't recognize what I've done wrong, how to fix it, and that can lead towards inconsistency and frustration.
And then if he doesn't do well, he's very hard on himself when he gets home.
I think he's good at golf, and I think there's just, tiny things just to go with it that he needs help with.
Being a perfectionist, I think he has areas probably he could improve.
I probably play currently 2 to 4 times a month, of which very little revolves around practice. If I do have time to hit the range before the round, I'll get out there and try and loosen up. But for the most part, I'm showing up when it's tee time, and I'm not really warmed up until we're probably 2 or 3 holes into the round. I have a lefty swing that I think feels natural. It's very comfortable to me. I really haven't had any hiccups with my swing. I think my biggest problem is on my takeaway and the confidence to come through the ball. I sometimes don't finish, which tends to push the ball left, which is, I guess, a slice for a lefty. I know I'm doing that, but I don't know what to do to correct that. And I will say this, I enjoy every day on the golf course. I mean, there is nothing bad about playing golf.
Stay tuned to see if Hank can show Mike the way. Now, let's see if Hank can show Mike the way.
With Mike, what I want to do is, I know I'll get him hitting the golf ball better right away from home, but the most important thing is that I want him to understand what it is that he's doing.
I've played a while. I've probably played off and on for close to 16, 17 years.
Really?
I've taken some lessons, and some is not a lot. It's probably 3 or 4.
Okay.
And part of the reason why I haven't really followed through with it is I find myself getting worse before I get better.
Right.
And I don't want to get worse.
And he kind of contradicts himself a little bit when he talked about, he wants to get better, but he hasn't practiced. He's taken a couple of lessons, but they made him worse before, they made him better.
My 9s will be very different.
Right.
And always my back 9 is better than my front 9.
He's got an opportunity to kind of pick the brain of Tiger Woods' teacher, and he seemed more concerned with talking himself. I felt like he couldn't wait for me to get done talking so he could talk some more. And that's all right. The hardest thing to do is listen.
And to me, a grip is comfort. If it's not comfortable, how does it go from there? It's got to be.
Of course, comfortable is whatever you're currently doing. Comfortable is 22 handicap. Comfortable is you've never broken 90, and maybe you need to be uncomfortable in a couple things, you know, but more correct. That's the reality. I mean, you just have to be correct. You know, Mike wants to be more consistent, and the reality is he's very consistent. He's played since high school, and he's always played the same. He's a 22 handicap. He doesn't get any better. So that's the ultimate inconsistency. So we need to get him some inconsistency, but better scores. And it just takes time. It takes time, and you have to have a plan. Most everybody starts off and they all say, you know, I don't drive it good enough, or I hit it into trouble, like you did. You know, that's what you started with.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, but the thing is that, you know, by your own admission, you're having 3 or 4 3-putts around. Okay, so that's 3 or 4 strokes right there. I mean, now all of a sudden, you're not a 22 handicap. You're 18 or 19 handicap.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what you need, you know, is a little more knowledge of, you know, what you're doing, so that you can help yourself. And what you need is kind of a game plan to move forward, you know, to take you from one level to the next And I can help you with that.
That'd be great.
All right, come on.
Up next, Mike and Hank hit the range.
Let's go check you out here. Got a little work to do.
There we go.
So the driver is, I know your big concern, getting off the tee. But what I like to do first is just, you know, kind of get an idea of what your swing looks like and what the shape of your swing is. So when I'm teaching a lesson, the first thing I do is I'll watch people hit like a 5 or 6 iron. You know, I was anticipating that Mike was going to be kind of a tough student, just because he hadn't taken lessons. He had a few excuses for why he wasn't going to take lessons. He didn't want to be uncomfortable. You know, just the typical things that you see sometimes with the students that are a little reluctant to change. He was a much better listener than I anticipated him being. Because when I first talked to him, it seemed like he couldn't wait to talk. But when it got to the golf course and to the driving range, he listened really well and seemed to really understand what he needed to do. You know, he didn't have that bad of a swing. It's just his timing's off, his upper body's through so much ahead of the club. Is that kind of your typical ball flight?
Exactly.
And once he understood the concept of squaring the club face, I knew that he was going to do better. Pretty big slice there, huh?
Yeah.
Now, what's your self-diagnosis of that shot?
A little too much, a little too fast on the down swing.
Right.
Sometimes a little too much on the back swing, trying to get too much power into it.
Right.
Sometimes I find when I swing easier, it's actually a better swing.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It seems like one of the most common misconceptions of golfers is that they swing too fast, but yet everybody wants to hit the golf ball longer. And if you're going to get the golf ball to go longer, one of the things you've got to do is you have to produce more speed. That ball's carrying about 145 yards with a 5-iron, so you're not swinging too fast.
Okay.
Okay. What most people do, and Mike was a perfect example of this, is they swing too hard, use their big muscles, and get too much upper body into the shot, and they end up swinging a lot slower because of that. Now, obviously, you got a big slice there. Okay? When you get a driver in your hand, it's going to be worse.
Yeah. Really, 3 things I think was the gist of my problem. Grip tension, keep it a little lighter on the club, making sure I square my hand up on impact to the ball, or a little bit before impact, and making sure I have a clean follow through and fast swing, as opposed to worrying about a hard swing, more of a fast swing.
But when you hit the ball, you're hitting with the face open for sure, like that. Now, the primary control over the club face is your grip. So when, you know, and I know this was a point that you brought up. You know, your grip feels comfortable and you don't like feeling uncomfortable. But my concern is always to be more correct.
Sure.
Okay. Now, one of the tips you always hear is people say, you know, hold on a lot softer. And that's a good tip for most amateurs, especially if you slice the ball. Mike was a slicer. He holds on tight. When you hold on tight, you choke off that release and your hands can't square the club face. You put it on there like that. Now just shake hands real quick with me. Okay, that's how tight I'd be holding on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, no tighter than that. You're a lot tighter than that.
Yeah,
sir.
absolutely.
Okay, okay. So
that, wow.
And I'm that way, so one more time. I'm that way with both hands.
Wow, okay.
Okay, and
Yeah,
that's going to allow...
I'm definitely a lot tighter.
Yeah, you got to be a lot softer with your grip, okay? I'm going to tee a couple up here. We're just going to do one at a time. But
Okay.
we're going to try that with your grip right there.
Okay.
Okay?
Ooh.
Good. Do it again. Now this time, same thing again, okay? Full speed. Okay, none of that slow motion stuff.
Okay.
Okay? When you hit a bad shot, don't come with that, I swung too hard.
Okay.
Okay? Good for you. All right, let's try this one. Good. Do it again. Had the right idea. Now same thing again, and square your right hand earlier and you got it. Okay? Good. Good job. Same thing again. Now is your best one by far. Nice work there.
I think for me, he was able to see the problems and give good advice how to fix those problems. My biggest problem is I have issues, I just don't know how to address them and fix them. You know, the 3 simple steps that he gave me is something that I could easily recognize and try to fix on my own now. So on the course, if I'm 6 holes into the round and I start slicing the ball again, I can go back and revisit the 3 things he told me about and say, hey, you know what? I need to adjust my grip, a little looser tension, make sure I get that head through quicker. So definitely things I could use in the future.
Well, you're going to start drawing it with your irons, drawing it with your 3-wood. You're going to start drawing with your driver.
Coach, just give me more
You
length with
got to
everything,
keep getting that back of the right hand to square the club face.
Gotcha.
And you got to do it a lot earlier.
Great.
Okay? You got any questions?
I'm good. I'm feeling the difference. That's part of what I said, right? I can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how to fix what's going on. Thank you.
We're gonna go on the course, and we're gonna check you out on the course.
Perfect.
But you did a good job there.
I appreciate it.
Thanks
That's great.
for all the effort.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Coming up, we'll see if Mike finds the fairway.
So here's what I saw out there. First thing is that's a big slice you got. And the reason I say that is because it's big relative to the distance that you hit the ball. Okay. The average golfer swings about 85 miles an hour, and you're swinging just about that. 90% of people play golf slice.
Right.
Okay, so you got that going too. Okay.
You got that working for me?
Yeah, you got that working for you. Okay. Now the minimum speed on the PGA Tour would be more like 105 miles an hour.
Right.
So we got to get you going faster because you're athletic and you're capable of swinging faster, and you're just making this slow motion swing. And then when you do, hit it bad, the first thing you want to fall back on is I swung too hard.
Right.
I mean, it's just what everybody says that doesn't know anything, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not really the issue. I mean, the issue is the correctness of your swing. Mm-hmm. The problem is that you're always hitting with the side of your hand. For all intents and purposes, the back of your right hand is your club face. And you're always hitting with the side of your hand instead of the back of your hand, okay? So you turn your grip a little bit, that makes it easier for your hands to kind of rotate. You ease up on your grip pressure, that makes it easier for your hands to kind of rotate, okay? And then the big thing is that you've got to get the timing right in your swing. Well, the timing means that your upper body is way out ahead of your club. And we've got to kind of slow you down a little and speed the club up a little. So that changes the timing of the swing. It's like I tell people, you know what happens when you take a fast, lousy swing, you slow it down?
It's a slow, lousy swing.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah.
How could it be anything different? It's like when you just hit your longest shot, you kind of least expect it and it just rockets off the club.
Right.
Well, that's because you're nice and relaxed. Yeah. But it didn't go that far because you swing slow.
Right.
It went that far because you connected right, but you actually had more speed. You didn't realize it because it was less effort. Right. So when you're out playing, you want to figure out, okay, what is my ball doing? And in your case, it's spinning too much, it's going too high, and it's slicing. So we're going to go to the course, and we're going to see how you do out there. Right. And we're going to look for some hooks. We're going to look for some more powerful shots, get more distance, all right?
Okay, good stuff. Thank you.
I know we're way back here.
Yeah.
You're not used to playing the back tees?
No, next set of tees is what I'm used to.
Okay, I got my little Sky Caddy. It's telling me it's 207 yards to fairway, so that's no problem for you. Just got to make a good swing. Okay? All right. It seems like the students that I know are going to do the best are the ones that have analyzed things exactly the opposite of what it truly is, and Mike was an example of that. He thought that he was slicing the ball because he wasn't finishing through. So he's trying to get his body through the shot more, and his upper body was racing through ahead of the club face and never had a chance to catch up. So when I presented a different concept to him, which was, you've got to slow your body down a little bit. You got to get the golf club moving with your hands and arms and square it up a lot earlier. One, it's going to give him a lot more speed, but two, it's going to square that club face.
Beautiful. One more swing and hold your finish, Mike. This is something I want you to focus in on when you're practicing alone, okay?
The 3 simple steps that he gave me is something that I could easily recognize and try to fix on my own now.
A little less of you. Okay, good job. Okay, one more time. That was pretty darn good, though.
I think for me, he was able to see the problems and give good advice how to fix those problems.
Softer with your hands and arms and feel like that club swinging in front of your body and closing before it gets to the ball. That was the best swing you made ever. Okay? Let's see you do that with the ball. Most people swing too hard, but not too fast. And Mike was a perfect example of that. He swung real hard with his body, and the reality is the club face and the club was moving very, very slow. It's an easy fix when they're trying to do something wrong. It's much harder when they're trying to do something right and doing something wrong. So Mike caught on pretty quick, and I think that he's gonna fix that slice once and for all. That was pretty much your career, wasn't it?
That was the best swing I've ever taken in my life. The next step is to really put the time in necessary. And that's basically the message he gave me as well. He says, it's not something you're going to do playing once a month. You've got to make a commitment to the game to go out and practice